Game number 2, the Alliance versus OG. OG 1-0 up in Group A. We'll also keep you up to date with the EG game as well, as Shiva's going to continue watching Virtus Pro getting dismantled
So
by
like,
the North Americans.
Oh, that's not nice. Maybe they come back in the
Maybe
second game.
You said it's going to be a quick 2-0 over here.
so let's get
No, I
just
did
just
not
throwing you under
say
the bus
that.
now as well.
That's outrageous, Paul. I would never say
outrageous.
that.
Outrageous.
It's outrageous.
How dare you?
Exactly.
How dare you?
How bloody
young man. Right, so
child.
so we do see the Wisp ban, but this time it's not Alliance banning, it's OG.
Alliance have first pick, so it's kind of natural for OG to just say, nope, we've
Yeah,
shown you, you're not having that one.
You're not doing what we just did.
I think what happened last game is that based on OG's history of first prioritizing Doom, Alliance were thinking they would first pick Doom and then they would take the Wisp as like a counter to Doom and also just a hero they like to run. So that didn't really go. The opening draft didn't quite go according to plan, perhaps.
And OG obviously not caring about the Chen either, so you can have the Chen if you want.
Yeah, I wonder if they do that again in game number 2.
I think they're banking on the fact they don't do it again.
I think Beastmaster or Lone Druid are the two scariest ones here, because Alliance, when
they
they
banned
have...
Prophet in game 1. I don't think the Lone Druid's too, like as a first stage, is a scary pick to deal with necessarily.
I'm just wondering if Alliance tried to like overcompensate after game 1 and give Bulldog something more farm heavy.
Or is Void is kind of farm heavy, at least.
But I mean something that can carry harder,
yeah.
at least naturally for him anyway.
I mean his entire hero pool is there.
So it is the Chen.
Yeah. So they basically decide Bulldog, take whatever hero you want. Beastmaster, Lone Druid, Nature's Prophet, they're all there.
And they will go with the Beastmaster.
This ended up being what happened at Starladder, the Invitational. They actually started prioritizing Beastmaster over his two known heroes, his Lone Druid and his Nature's Prophet. It just seemed to fit the Alliance playstyle better.
But his performance has been really good. Like he'd overtaken people like Mag and the like for his like necro timings, his actual play in lanes. He's, you know, if not the best, definitely top 3 Beastmasters in the world.
There's a lot of Beastmaster players.
But I think
every team has a Beastmaster.
He's been really good.
Yeah, I agree. So this time around, OG will have the Doom. But this is more I expected from OG coming in. But again, if you can get away with like that kind of cheesy strategy in game 1, get yourself a win. All the more for it.
Do you think EU teams continue to like catch on to offlane Doom and transition back into that, or continue with the kind of 4-role greedy Doom?
I've seen OG do a lot of both. Like it's been split between Crit playing the jungle Doom and Moon playing the offlane Doom. So for OG, that's why I think Doom is such a good first stage pick for them, because they have that flexibility. It doesn't reveal too much about your draft. You're not like, okay, they picked this Doom, 90% of the time they're running on this player, let's plan accordingly. You can't really anticipate where this hero is going to go.
Just a note from the other game going on. If people want to see the return of the Storm Spirit, this is the game.
Oh, hell yeah.
Okay.
So that is on Epicenter_EN2.
Indeed, yes. Cap and Blitz are over on that one by those as well.
The thing with
game 2.
The thing with the Doom though is if you want to go for like a Fly Earth Spirit, it does give away early on that it'll be an offlane Doom. That's something that OG have loved to do. Try and roam in on that S4 mid.
They're thinking a lot about this second pick, chewing away at that reserve time.
It was like Lion, Enchantress, Earth Spirit. I don't know if they want to go for
Witch
like
Doctor's banned, sorry.
Witch Doctor's taken out.
That's an unusual first stage ban, but I mean, Ember also the other curious first stage ban. When I see bans like this Ember Witch Doctor, it makes me think these teams have been scrimming a lot, because it's 2 games in a row Ember's been a first stage ban. So I don't think that's come from like this new patch. Ember hasn't been touched. It's purely something which makes me think they've been scrimming.
Ember played, Miracle played a fair amount of Ember at Starladder though. Played a couple of games.
Yes.
Did very well.
Yeah, and it often was like a fallback pick for when they were under a lot of pressure and really needed to pull out a win. They'd bust out the Ember Spirit, and we'll see Bat Rider. So S4 Bat, Bulldog, Beastmaster. Normally you see a lot of teams pick up Beastmaster Bat. You'd be saying Bat can go like mid or off lane. Beastmaster can be a greedy jungler. But with Alliance, this is almost certainly going to be a Bulldog, Beastmaster, and S4 Bat. And that's something where they've revealed a lot about what they're going to be doing, even in this first stage.
Or maybe that's what they want you to think, and it's going to be an EGM Beastmaster.
No.
No?
I say no. It's a possibility. It's a very, very small, unlikely possibility. It's Alliance. Like that's always been the Alliance staple.
Yeah.
They they don't care that they're predictable because they're so good at playing their heroes and their play styles. Everyone knew what they were going to pick. When they won TI3, you could, as an analyst on the panel, it was great because you know exactly what they're going to pick in every slot. It's just so easy to read and predict like their draft, their strategy, but beating it is just, that's the big question mark. How do you do that?
I remember S4 being known as the Batrider that, across all Batrider players, at that point, so this was TA3 area, did most damage with his Flame Break and got most heroes with Flame Break, so his Flame Break positioning, spot on.
One of the few players that actually skilled Flame Break early on
Yes,
as well. Like,
that helps.
He actually recently used to keep like 1 or even 2 skill points and not level up Flaming Lasso to hold on just in case he wanted, a couple of quick points and Flame Break to catch a kill. But Batrider here, picking it into Venge, you might think, what are they up to? Picking it into swap, is that clever? But it's lane domination. S4 is going to sit there in lane. He's hard to gank. You can't actually track him down. He's going to get Blink Dagger. He will get Blink before Venge hits level 6, I think.
One of my favorite S4 moments, someone was asking him, because they picked Batrider after like when Oracle was like becoming a big thing, it was added and getting played a lot. Alliance kept picking Bat, and they'd pick it after the opponent said Oracle. And he got asked in an interview, it's like, why you guys keep picking Bat against Oracle? Like, aren't you like false promise counters you? Like, what's the deal? And he's like,
we jump Oracle then.
No. His answer was even better. Batrider has 4 spells, not 1. That's the big thing here. It's not all about the lasso. This hero does well in the lane. He can get kills using Firefly, Napalm, the Flame Break that Shiva mentioned, where he's getting more damage than most players out of this spell. So very much. He basically uses all 4 of Batrider's spells to their full capacity. It's not all about the lasso. A lot of players, it's like you pick the hero for the lasso initiation. S4, that's not the case.
Now they've got that umbrella of global silence, but
well, this is like
EGM or loader
for the silencer. Most likely EGM, but could be flexible. The silencer with the Bat is really strong because you get the lasso initiation, you just global silence, and like you can't grave that hero now. You see, you can't grave him, you can't swap him. That's something OG are often relying on, is having these defensive supports who can save that frontline core who gets initiated on. But now with the silencer pick, you blink lasso someone or you raw someone, no grave, no swap potentially available. And Venge and Dazzle are not support heroes who can easily farm up an item to get rid of that global silence.
And now, with the recent change to intelligence buffing spell damage, Glaives get that bonus damage as well.
So
he does a lot of damage from right clicks if they do want to go for like a one roll silencer.
If they go for a core silencer, yeah. I'm not sold on that. I think with Beastmaster Batrider, your 2 cores are both initiating type cores. Yeah, Beastmaster can do a lot of right click damage with the Necro books and the passive,
I'm just always worried about like 4 or 5 roll silencer. Back when we used to see it a lot from China, is relying heavily on the ultimate. And if you get stuck in the rut of using it defensively, you never break out and can use it aggressively onto people.
I'm just more worried about a carry silencer because then you don't really have a carry. Like silencer won't scale well into won't go that well into the late game. I think you get what you need out of the silencer from the support role, and putting him as a carry means you get a bit better itemization out of him. Like you mentioned, the extra spell damage you get from the intel is kind of nice, but I think very much this was just a hero paired up to amplify the initiation of Beastmaster Bat. Having a silencer in your team means Beastmaster and Batrider are stronger heroes.
And make sure the saving supports on OG can't do their job.
So something that they ran a lot with Batrider and Puck is the Lotus Spectre. This is all about the team fight. You find someone with a Blink Lasso or a Beastmaster Roar, you've got the Spectre follow up with the Horn. The problem is, the main weakness right now with Alliance's draft is they're very cooldown ulti dependent. When they don't have the global Silencer Spectre Horn, they're very weak. So I think for OG, you want to have a lineup that can punish those ultimates going on cooldown. Like when the Haunt and the global silence is in there, you want to be able to take towers, take objectives. DK does that well. DK Venge do it very well. I would really honestly like them to pick a safe lane carry that can push.
Take Roshan, like Dire Side,
take Roshan,
once ulti's
push
down.
very well. Have like a Lycan is something which kind of comes to mind.
Yeah.
Although, I mean, again, there's lots of lockdown to deal. Whatever carry it's going to be, there's a Beastmaster or a Bat Lasso to deal with them. Husker still viable with the Dazzle, so they're going to last ban it, but we'll see what the two teams want to get here. So for Alliance, looking most likely for the Ake hero. I'm trying to think what Crystal Maiden, something he plays a lot. The Enchantress is still there if you want to go for a jungler. Keeper of the Light's an Ake hero, but not something I expect to see. You're against very tanky frontliners, DK, Doom. I like Disruptor a lot.
Yeah. And once you get ahead, you just keep chasing and catching. They're lacking a bit in push, though, like actually killing towers off. Oh, God. Okay.
Wow.
Skyrath.
It's been a while since we've
Well,
seen
that was
him. Huh?
a little bit different.
So this makes him a little bit less ulti dependent on the Silencer Spectre, because like if you don't have the global or the haunt when you roar or lasso someone, you might not get a kill. So now you've got the burst damage of a Skyrath mage. So they basically want to say we now have a ton of different hero combinations that can threaten to kill. Because otherwise, if global and haunt's on cooldown, in theory, a DK is not scared of getting lassoed. But with a Skyrath mage, now there is that kill threat there.
And speaking of scared, you look at the laning stage for Alliance. Both Silencer and Skyrath Mage are like two of the best kind of zoning harassers in the game, right? With Arcane Orb and the Glaives coming out. If we see Skyrath go back to that role we saw back at like TI5 and pre-TI5, we just sit mid for the first 30 seconds, DK is going to be really, really angry at that.
Now a last pick Drow, this is something completely unexpected for Alliance, I imagine, because you're looking at DK plus Doom, and Drow Ranger, it's like, well, Rain's Hero Aura. It does work with the DK and ulti form, but you would not have expected it seeing a DK and Doom as your other two cores.
But it lines up exactly with what you were saying. You know, good tower push, good ways of taking down Roshan. You can always farm the jungle if things go awry when they've used up all their ultimates.
Okay, very, very quickly then. Are we sticking with our first predictions of the series winners, or is the draft persuaded us differently?
I think I slightly prefer what Alliance do. I think they're just a bit... There's a very high element of risk with what OG are doing, but that was the same with game one.
Yeah.
It was very high risk with the Husker, but they made it work. So.
Okay, Gareth?
I like Alliance's draft, but like God was saying, the Reliance and Ultimates might be their downfall. I'm going to go with OG again.
Okay.
I'm going to go with OG.
Shiva?
I'll go with Alliance.
Alliance, okay.
Yeah.
Split decisions. We like those on the panel. They're fun. Let's head back to our commentators and make what they see of Game 2. Enjoy.
Indeed, Red Eye, thank you very much. We're here with Game 2, OG versus Alliance. Something pretty different coming out from both sides, Purge. Some funky stuff. OG again with a 5th pick. Not the Huskar, this time it's a Drow Ranger. As Goz mentioned, of course, already the synergy with such like the DK in his ultimate form. But you're picking a Drow Ranger into Spectre, Beastmaster, Bat Raider, really kind of in-your-face cores. Is this the strat? Why is OG and why is Miracle doing it this game?
I mean, it seems clear that they're picking lineups that have potentially good 5-man. And they're doing the same thing, 2 defensive supports again, except one of them is slightly more offensive with the Venge. So I think it's a good pick. It'll give them the ability to move around the map, gank a little bit, do a lot of damage in the mid game, and if they get advantage over their opponents, they can easily win fights when those cooldowns are on cooldown. So I do like a lot of picks, though. I think Silencer support's actually quite good with this patch. I'm a little surprised we haven't seen him played more. The Curse of the Silent ability is really good, or the Arcane Curse, sorry. If they cast a spell, then it stays on them longer, and it's an 18% slow potentially for the entire team fight. That's pretty useful.
I can see at the bottom rune, OG. I'll be able to secure this one here for No Tail once again on his DK. The same as what we saw in Game 1. And as the panel kind of talked about, it wasn't really like a flashy performance from the Dragon Knight, but it was a very kind of safe and reliable one. You always had No Tail in there on the front lines next to the Bristle, very rarely dying, and at the same time just doing a lot of damage through that ultimate form, and the pushing power was real. You know, you really can't write off the potential of a DK coming in and taking down towers with his ult. And as we're saying, with that Drow Aura, it's going to be even scarier. But it does... well, I mean, what does this rely on for OG? Do they need to win the early game here, or how can they kind of play into the mid game?
I think OG can definitely play into the mid game. It's not that bad. I mean, Dazzle obviously can't gank very well, but Venge can do defensive things and offensive things in the laning stage. So I think they're as a whole, I think Alliance is in a... I'm sorry, OG is in a pretty good place going into the mid game. They can also gank with Doom. Just as a whole, everything kind of works out nicely. They picked the Skyrath Mage this game, though. It is going to help them zone out the Dragon Knight a bit more, since he did kind of get whatever he wanted to in the mid lane, more or less. It's a little too hard to zone him, especially with the Bat Rider, since the harass isn't as easy. So I think this lane will work out nicely for them. In the off lane, Doom is starting in the jungle as well. EGM on Silencer is going to try to zone him when he comes back, but I think this game's going to go a little bit more even as a whole. I like the drafts for both teams, but they both have options.
Absolutely. I mean, looking at the sidelines, Bulldog on this top lane, he's up against a pretty tricky trial, and as you're saying, this potential with Venge, crit on the sidelines next to Miracle, and also having fly around as well. I mean, how much are we going to see Bulldog get from this lane? Is he going to get enough as a Beastmaster?
Yeah, he should do fine. I mean, worst case, he jungles, and he's got some items coming out. brings out a Iron Talon, so he's just fine now. I mean, we've seen it a lot in a lot of the regional qualifiers. He just sits in the jungle and he gets last hits. In fact, his board damage actually got buffed versus neutral creeps due to piercing damage doing more to them now. So he's going to be just, unless he lets them die, then it's no good. But as a whole, he's going to be able to jungle quite rapidly. And it'll come down to the supports creating space for other people. Right now, they're focusing on stacking. Stacks will mostly be cleared by most likely Drow at some stage or Dragonite. And that'll accelerate those heroes pretty fast. Maybe they will still look for an early timing, but kind of cool to see them so focused on stacking. Like it.
And as we can see as well, as you were saying on the bottom lane, Moon, who did the side camp, then he went all the way over to the main jungle, has managed to get himself the troll trap creep, so he's got the ensnare.
Okay.
So we'll see if he does anything with this one. Heading back to base, picking up a TP. Do you imagine he's just going to go back down to bottom to continue to find levels, or maybe see him go for some kind of active play?
He could go down now, but it's a little bit late since the creep wave just died, so I think he's going to aim for back into the jungle, especially since he has the Iron Talon. Like, it's the best jungling item in the game, basically, so he'll be able to accelerate pretty fast. So, yeah, for now, he'll walk down.
Mid lane, look at this. Crit and D coming in with the magic missile. That'll be the return harass from Ake, trying to slow the No-Tail, but S4 getting dragon-tailed. And first blood there for No-Tail.
All right, that looked really, really like a poor decision. It kind of would have worked if No-Tail didn't have a stun, but he really did, and then Batrider stops moving and he just dies. So that looked quite poor. He easily could have lived there if he wanted to, but I think he just wasn't anticipating the Dragon Tail stun, maybe because of No-Tail having 2 Dragon Blood in the last game. But he doesn't really need 2 Dragon Blood against a Batrider, so he was easily able to have the mana for the Dragon Tail stun there. Huge mistake from S4, though. He didn't need to die to that.
I mean, the one thing about this laning stage that's really got to benefit Alliance is the fact that Loader, of course, on his Spectre is going to get free farm. I mean, giving a Spectre free farm, that's always got to be kind of a scary thing to do, but I guess OG have a plan for that. Yeah,
again, it's the reason Specs win so much is because if they get free farm, they transition that into ganks. And they can definitely do that this game. I mean, Dazzle's a little hard to kill, I guess. Venge is a little hard to kill. But with some coordinated movement from Alliance's side, they can definitely continuously get ganks. It's going to come down a lot to Skywrath Mage getting a 6, for example. And they're setting up a really early kill here mid. A little surprising to see Beastmaster moving this early, but with level 2 Boar, that's a great slow. Oh, they're going to go top rune. They're completely set up for this.
This is the perfect timing here to jump onto No-Tail. No-Tail caught out 3 stacks of Napalm crit, and Fly are going to come in to try and help. There's a Hatred as well. No-Tail, he's trying to get to the Hatred. He's going to get it. He's going to be fine. He gets himself out. S4 maybe able to pick up crit on the back line with the help of Border. No-Tail actually coming back in. He's got 5 stacks of Napalm though. Don't stand in the fire, No-Tail. What are you doing? 2 dead. They're going to lose the third one here as well. OG potentially Fly. He'll be the smarter one. TP's out, but No-Tail and crit taken down, and No-Tail trying to go back, and they do get the bat, but is it worth it?
It's still worth it for them, definitely, because Batrider died first, but otherwise that would have been a little iffy. Did he kill Venge first? Yeah, Venge died first, then it was the bat, then it was the Dragonite, it looks like. So pretty good for Alliance, I guess, as a whole. I'm a little surprised that No-Tail died there, especially with the haste rune. Like, he really shouldn't have died no matter what. So fairly big mistake from No-Tail, definitely.
See on the bottom, Loader's still getting loads of space. I mean, we're 5 minutes in. This Spectre's going to get the tower. Oh no, he's not. Fly. What a boss.
That was huge, actually. The fact that they took this tower so easily with just a Spectre silencer, what the heck? That shouldn't happen. Bulldog going to die, maybe?
Oh, he's fairly tanky in. Yeah, be able to walk it off. It's fine. Still 1 point in the Frost Arrow. Of course, at this point, not enough slow to deal with the Beastmaster. But of course, next time the story's going to be a little bit different because Miracle, he has now hit level 6. So this man's certainly going to be punching on the Drow Ranger. So Bulldog's going to have to be a little bit careful here on this top lane.
And he can shift to the jungle very rapidly too. Again, they have some stacks there. Again, those might just be stacking to try to get an Alpha Wolf creep for the Doom fairly rapidly. But the fact they got that tower so fast is really a good thing for Alliance because at some point OG will become the 5-man pushers themselves. So that deny actually makes a huge difference that they were able to get that.
Mid lane, I suppose just trying to deal with the push of No-Tail coming in with the Dragon form. At the same time, Miracle, he's managed to work it half of the way through this tower on the top lane. And Ake just on the sidelines. Crit maybe looking to go for some aggressive play here. Really would like to try and find that jumping onto S4, but isn't going to quite find the opening. Alright, grab himself a bounty now. Crit does get that stun through. Ake's there with the return, and now TP's coming in as well. EGM. He's not going to follow through though. Actually holds it back, and now they're just going back in. They see that EGM cancelled the TP, and now they know that they can dive back in. OG find one now. Eyes onto Ake with the chase down, the Infernal Blade, and this Scorched Earth doing a hell of a lot to this Skywrath Mage. He needs some help. He'll get the slowdown. That's going to be enough.
Pretty big mistake there. The canceled TP. Batrider just keeps getting out of position and getting bursted down when he thinks he's going to survive, and that's now 3 deaths on S4. He does hit 6, but he doesn't have Blast yet, and he lost his tower because of this. All of these deaths really add up. They lost their tower so early, and now OG is able to roam through mid lane to other lanes.
That's all. Look at this. Miracle's like, oh, I'm going to get tier 1. And Loda says, no, you're not. Miracle try for the TP out. Oh, no! Flame break from S4.
Okay, that was
the master of TP
huge
cancelling coming in time, and that's a lovely kill for Alliance to find.
That was so well done by S4. He was completely prepped for that eventuality that there would be a potential TP. Really well done. TP for the flame break, guaranteed to kill the
Moon
carry.
as well. Look at this with the wraparound. S4
doesn't have lasso.
Coming in. He may not need it here. The stack's starting to build up. Moon, he's fairly fast, and with the help of crit. Yeah, Moon's going to be fine, as you said. Hasn't put the skill point into lasso yet, level 6. Holding on for later levels, so S4 unable to find that one. Bottom lane, no talent fly, setting up camp, and EGM's out. So he's not sticking around there.
Yeah, at this point in the game, you can't stay in the safe lane for Radiant, so he's going to have to get out. Looks like he is going to be building a Veil, perhaps, on Silencer. Kind of a cool build. Gives him lots of int, which will amp up his magic damage and make his Arcane Curse do more damage. And not to mention amplify his whole team. Like, Skywrath Mage just doesn't really want to buy a Veil because he needs more Disable than that and generally more stats. But yeah, it's pretty much their whole lineup. It's going to be really useful. And Radiance as well. It's a great pickup for Veil on Alliance this game. So as long as Loda keeps doing relatively fine, he's been doing great. 54 last hits here. He's been a part of 1 kill. They want to keep trying to shut down the Drow, basically. It should be their goal. But now that they're 5-man, it's a lot harder. So Alliance needs to get as much as they can out of these lanes and possibly get solo picks whenever the heroes go to defend the split push.
Seeing Loda getting the space again up top. He's nearly found himself a tier 1 mid lane as well. Alliance putting the pressure through, but it's the side of OG with No-Tail and Miracle using this pushing power of the Drow Dragon Knight combination to find themselves at another tier 2. Look at this wraparound from OG as well. Moon straight in with the Doom onto Bulldog. Crit closing in as well. S4 is there, but he's held back by the Magic Missile. There'll be TP back from No-Tail. Global Silence from EGM, trying to slow the fight down for the side of OG, but OG, they're going to continue here. Crit, Shallow graved up. He's going to be fine. S4 flying around on the Batrider. He'll have to get himself out as well, and OG looking to be fine. Apart from, Crit just ticking down on the sidelines. Alliance maybe going back in here. It's EGM. With the Arcane Curse, eyeing up No-Tail. Bulldog does still have a roar.
They're all so low, though. And they don't quite have that much burst damage. Ake is only level 5, and he's maxing out his steal. They're going to go for it. I don't like this.
The flame break, in fact, with it. It's not going to be enough. No-Tail, well, if he turns around, and now Loda with the Horn, now this could be the cleanup.
He's got armlet, though.
He has indeed got that armlet. Is it going to be enough? With the help of Miracle coming in, Loda, Dragon Tail, they'll turn it around. They'll take down Loda, punishing the Spectre.
They try to force that way too hard, especially with the build that Ake has, where he has 3 points in his silence. They just don't have very good nuke damage. It's mostly the long cooldown on the Skywrath nuke. They just don't have nuke yet. They need Skywrath to be 6 for them to be able to get these kind of solo kills on these heroes with tons of armor. And they can't make mistakes like that, especially not on their carry. Like, that was Spectre going in and dying for nothing. He could have been farming. Like, it's the armlet problem. It gives you tons of armor. You have to beat it with stuns and magic nukes. And they didn't have enough there.
And letting them get Roshan as well, and this is going to be perfect. 10 minutes in for the playstyle that OG's got. If they're able to start to get a 5-man push on with Aegis, it's getting harder and harder for Alliance to build.
Yeah, it's getting scary. This is kind of reminding me of the previous game. Is this OG's patch, man? It kind of looks like it right now.
The strats seem to certainly be working. Obviously, still early days here in Game 2, but as you said, they've kind of got past the rocky bit, and we are seeing, Alliance trying to throw themselves in at OG and just not being able to do enough at this stage of the game. I mean, you have got this Spectre, but he's got brown boots, earn 1,400 gold. He's not going to be the most impactful in these team fights. Yeah,
I think he does have to rush a very, very fast Radiance, most likely. He's got a Sage's Mask as well, so maybe this is going to be something like an Aquila, but he just has brown boots still as well. His damage is honestly not very good. And plus, they took that tier 1 tower so rapidly, which seemed kind of good, but he hasn't really had a safe place to farm and for that second half of the 5 minutes or so. So it's been kind of hard for him to find farm as a whole. He's going to go to the enemy jungle. This is spotted out by an Observer Ward, so they could potentially smoke and gank him. And it looks maybe that's what they're doing here. They're going to go doom him. This is a great gank. And they're going to do this while pushing, so they might not even see this coming.
This is really, really nice play from OG. If this works out and they take down Loda, that's really, really going to stunt this growth of the Spectre. If they can get this off.
They doom him. He's dead.
Moon going in, and there we go. The Doom's off Loda. He's still got the free path into the Spectre to dagger. But a fly.
Okay, he got blocked in by creeps. He just might live.
Oh, Doom, yeah, Moon held back.
They need a TP.
Fly, he might be able to do this on his own.
It's close.
Horn's going to come back off cooldown. He should be able to horn out if he needs to. Oh, he's just going to dagger to the sidelines. That's not going to cut it. Crit swaps him back, slaps him down. Crit there with the swag. Very, very nice takedown, and they do get that Spectre, even with Moon having a bit of fun in the trees with the creeps.
Yeah, that's got to be a little embarrassing. If they would have lost that kill, it would have been so big. But, you know, using Haunt there just was too dangerous for Loda. If he haunts somewhere, any spell, he dies. And they're going to see that coming. They're top-tier players, so way too dangerous for him to try
and
to
now, off the
that.
back of dying, you can see at the moment Alliance looking for something. If they can find something for Loda to haunt into, they can maybe rectify that play. S4 jumps in, there's decides to follow through, making sure there's no hold, but now Bulldog with the Roar, the Mystic Flare, but the Grave comes out in time. They'll haunt in on Spectre. They need to try and clean up this fight. They need to find something. No-Tail being healed up as well with the armlet. No-Tail still alive for the timing, finally goes down, but Ake, he'll fall to the burn damage of Moon on the back lines. Loda looking to find Crit by Miracle, controlling Loda. Can they turn it around? Can they kill the Spectre? But no, this looks to be Alliance's fight. Moving in for more, the heals for a Flight. It's enough to keep the sustain for OG, and Miracle turns around, takes down Bulldog now, eyes onto Loda. Loda getting himself away from the tower. They might just lose Miracle. Loda coming back in, looking for the Drow Ranger. Miracle getting bursted down. One more swipe will do it. The Aegis is gone. Miracle drops.
8 stacks.
Moon.
Look at this.
Yeah, this is a very, very good fight here at the moment for Alliance. Loda, he's going to keep himself alive to the sidelines as well. S4 still with the Firefly gets himself out. And that is the exact fight that Spectre wanted to be a part of. And Loda's going to be very, very happy there with the play of Alliance.
They used their skills so well in that fight. The global silence was perfect. It got the Dragon Knight really out of position. It gave them enough damage that the Grave didn't even do that much. They still were able to kill the Dragon Knight afterwards. So great usage by Ake there on his ult. And then afterwards, Batrider played amazing. It really slowed them down and kited them enough to get big kills and break the Aegis.
Look at this movement for OG. They say, all right, well, we still want to fight. We're just going to come right round behind the tier 2. Look if we can catch out. And they're going to find Loda here. Crit leading with the magic missile. No-Tail with the follow-through stun. Perfect play here from OG, and they've caught the Spectre. Very nice movement off the back of a team fight that wasn't great for OG. They just come charging as a tricore down the mid lane behind the tier 2, and Loda did not expect that.
Didn't they have a ward down here spotting it out, though? They weren't smoked. I'm a little surprised he got caught there. Maybe he just didn't think that they would put a ward down and get the vision in the swap, but he does get killed, and that's, again, another big problem for Alliance here. They won that great team fight, but their net worth is still behind on a lot of their cores.
And now we're going to see again just the pushing power of OG come into play. Straight up to the high ground, onto the tier 3. What are you going to do to stop it? Spec's going to be up in 5 seconds, but still 30 seconds without Horn. UGM starts to spam out the Arcane Curse, but already 14 minutes in, they've lost to tier 3. OG now moving in for the Rags as well. Look at the damage. Melee Rags starting to fall. They've got to do something here, Alliance.
They could set now. This is it.
Yeah, jumping in onto Moon. The Global Silent to follow through. They're focusing on the Doom. They should be able to find this kill and maybe a second one with a Roar into Mystic Flare, but Fly with the save, with the Grave, trying to get Crit out of this one. Fly cursed up though. They could find more Alliance. Jumping in hard. Crit falling low. They'll find themselves a second Fly. He's going down here on the sidelines. Loda's now got the Horn back up. Already found a double kill. It's going to be another one here. 3 on the defense. 4 going down as Miracle left alone. Alliance will hold triple kill for Loda. And they do hold the base, and again, back and forth from a great fight to a bad pick-off, and back to a great fight for this Spectre.
What a back and forth game. This is insane. It looks on nice edge to becoming the game of the previous, but the really good part is that Drow just isn't a good hero if people are in melee range of her. Her 2 ultimate points are completely, or they're 50% wasted, so the Spectre can do that, and I like that he went treads this game. It's not about chasing people,
is it? No.
It's about staying alive as much as possible and right-clicking as much as possible when things get really serious. So he just gets on top of his opponents and he wants to stay there. And as long as his allies are able to keep him alive with their ultimates, it's going to allow them to work down the Drow Ranger and eventually get the kills. I also like that they killed Doom first. Maybe we can criticize Moon for that he was the front man. It should have been maybe Dragon Knight. Much more survivable by far. He has like an extra 10 armor. Moon's really, he needs to get the Doom off for these fights to go well. At least one of those big ults from Alliance need to not come out. And all of them got used and they clearly won the team fight.
A really, really strong defense. And they did need it as well. I mean, if they ended up losing a Rax of 15 minutes in, that would have been pretty disastrous here for the side.
Yeah.
But they do hold, and OG a little bit shaken up by that one. We'll see what they're able to come out next with in terms of the play. And obviously at this point, I guess the question is, do they have to wait for Roshan again before they push it, or can OG still continue to try and look for fights without that Aegis?
They can just do regular playstyle, which is gank and a push. You know, they don't have to do the 5-man. You know that we're coming, but we're still going to beat you style that they've been doing so far today. So I think they can just go, but they have to get the ganks off first.
Yes.
And their wards are still fairly okay. They've committed pretty high, or pretty hard to this Rax at 15-minute thing, but losing that fight there has set them back a lot. They can still win this, but they need to start team fighting better. Because once Alliance gets like Radiance, then the fight gets really hard. Very hard to do damage on OG because they're going to be missing, they're going to be taking damage all the time. There's going to be too many people to grave, essentially. It's a very big difference in the draft that Alliance has versus the previous game. If you press Haunt, everyone's taking damage.
Oh, this is well that Alliance smoking up. Let's see what they can catch out. All ults back online. Of course, Loader just going to be pushing out that bottom wave, but very much ready to join the fight with the Haunt. S4 leading the way with the Firefly. With an Arcana Rune to play, but jump straight in onto Miracle. The silence as well, and here's Loader turning up, and Miracle's gone. It's a free pick off for now. They'll be able to find themselves more. Loader jumping in onto Crit. S4 as well with a chase down. There'll be a magic missile holding the back, but he doesn't care. Crit falling low should tick out here. They'll lose Crit as well as he gets swapped into the Mystic Flare. No tail found as well. Alliance, they may lose S4. No, they will. No. S4's going to live here in the sideline. No tail being kept alive by the Grave from Fly. Still goes down as EGM punches him down with the Glaives. Moon managing to clean up here a little bit. Found himself a double kill. This could be OG now with the turnaround. Can they find themselves a third? And they will. And S4, did he just kill himself to a Necro unit purge?
No, he died to the tower. The weave had been on him for like 15 seconds, so he had like 300 HP. He got 2-shot by the tower.
Damn.
He didn't see it coming. Overall, that was still pretty good for Alliance.
Loader lives.
I think that was honestly worth it. They lost, what, 400, 600 gold there? They lost a couple more than I thought they should have, but it all came down to that super clutch swap from Crit. He was going to die no matter what. It kept Dragonite alive,
Loader.
And Dragonite was able to do a lot.
Does he live here? I mean, he's in a bit of trouble.
He's looking for him. He's going to find him.
Loader versus Fly. Let's go. Loader, just hit him. Okay, no.
He's dead.
He is very
wow,
dead.
what a big kill.
All right, so that ends up being a 5-er.
5 for 3 then.
Yep.
I mean, that swap changed everything. If Dragonite dies there, doesn't get graved right off the bat, they clear him out, they get 2 kills for nothing, and instead it turned into a 5 for 3. That was such a sick swap. It basically hard counters what Skywrath Mage does.
Moon, I mean, at the back of that fight, he found a lot on his Doom. You're seeing his net worth, you know, it's absolutely skyrocketing. He's second on the board, cleaning up some big kills, got himself a double kill in the mixture of that fight, and was claimed with that takedown onto Loader as well. So 14-14, 18 minutes in. I mean, Alliance, they are going to have the high ground defense on them, and Haunt is going to be back up in 20 seconds. So OG unlikely to be able to push before that is back and available. But as you said, this game is really topsy-turvy between the two sides.
Yeah, it's kind of nice, actually. The nerf to Haunt cooldown means that Haunt is always up at the same time as Global Silence now. So it's really straightforward to play around their cooldowns. And Silencer's getting a lot of value out of his skills right now. It's 5.5% damage amp plus the Veil. He does quite a bit. I really like the new Silencer. It's quite good. I'm a little surprised more teams haven't been playing it, but I think he's definitely justifying his value this game. All right, the smoke comes in from OG. Will they swap this? Oh, they can't get it off.
They're going to put the drums ready to try and chase down, see who they can find. But yeah, you said they just can't manage to get that lead in onto Alliance.
Yeah, I think Crit had to do a Wave of Terror for Vision to swap, but they ran away instantly, and he wasn't able to get in the swap range. So maybe a slight mistake out of him there, but that could have been really great. They could have grabbed the Beastmaster. Those are main disable. A lot of their DPS as well with the Aura and the Necro 3. And how close is Loda now? 30 gold away from his Relic.
Yeah, this is the big hurdle.
He'll be a lot better against Drow once he picks up the Relic, even though Drow's pretty high armor. But the big thing is the Radiance. He's got to finish this. So as long as Alliance doesn't get Raxed or lose another 5-man fight before they have Radiance, I think they can definitely win this game. So they just need to knock an Initiator on right now. OG, their goal is take some advantage or win the next fight before Radiance is up, or win the first fight when Radiance is picked up. If they can do
S4
that.
is falling for this. It's an illusion, S4. I think he knows. He knows.
Okay, no death there. They will get Roche out of this because clearly Alliance doesn't want to fight yet. And they kill it stupidly fast.
Absolutely. So they will have this Aegis for the push.
It's a tense moment for Alliance. On the bright side, it's still a Drow Ranger Aegis. It's not amazing. The hero does a lot of damage from range, but you can kind of get on top of her and really mitigate what she does. With the Manta style, he'll be able to remove silence from himself and possibly counter-initiate. That's actually pretty big. The more gust levels he gets, if he can like land a big gust after getting global silence, he can actually just completely waste the silence of Alliance as well. Possibly kill Batrider kind of a thing. That would be huge. He does have very weak Frost Arrows levels, though. He's mostly going stats here. So it's going to slightly minimize the damage and control he can have over his opponents, but I would like to see him get more skill points now, since he has the silence hard counter.
You can see ROG reacting to the push here from Alliance to the top lane, but Alliance They're already out of there. OG's still hanging around the sideline. Just see if they were able to get a jump on anyone, but they'll indeed realize that Alliance no longer around.
Almost time for Spectre. 300 gold, and he's got it. And they've got a great ward. They see all of OG, so he knows he's safe to farm here.
I mean, at that point as well, so with the Radiance on Spectre, do you expect, how hard are these fights to be for OG, or do they still have a chance?
They definitely still have a chance. Yeah. It all comes down to how they initiate, basically.
Okay.
The big thing is that Dazzle doesn't yet have mech. And if there's global silence going on, and if they can kill Dazzle at the start of the fight, I think they win the fight, unless like the spells are used really well on OG, like Doom on the right target, Dragon Knight bursting somebody down, for example. Because the Dazzle can't offset the AoE damage. That's the biggest thing about Haunt. It just is guaranteed doing 50 damage per second for 6 seconds with the Haunt. It's just tons of damage. The supports can't deal with it very well. And they're grouping for the push. This is going to be the big fight. This fight, in a lot of ways, dictates whether or not either team loses and who's going to execute it well.
And this feels like one of those fights as well where OG, they may just throw themselves at the racks. You know what I mean? If they get taken down, as long as they can get that objective.
They use their scan for the wraparound. There was no wraparound. They get the Hawk as well. That's super big. Less vision now for Alliance.
And Miracle, go for the easier one
He's got to get crit. All right.
Tracks down, and here we go. Jumping straight in, bringing them back. Crit taken out on the front of this fight. One man down. No Tail moves in with the Dragonfall and the BKB, but the roar from Bulldog holding him in place. Now Alliance beginning the beat down onto No Tail. Still trying to front lane, pops the charges, trying to take down Loader. He's got the backup of Fly. Miracle moving in as well. Staying
so tanky.
Tentatively on the sidelines. No Tail finally drops down here. Miracle looking for EGM. He has still got this Aegis on this Drow Ranger. Bulldog incredibly low. They'll pop Miracle once. Can they do it a second time? He's got the backup of Moon. Fly is there as well. There is a Grave available. Miracle standing his ground, takes down Bulldog. An arrow to the face, and now he's just looking to try and control this one. Will go for the TP out. Do they have a cancel? Don't.
Oh my god. So many big things happen in that fight. A great grab from Batrider to snag the Venge, the counter to the lasso. So that got them the start. Dragon Knight went in to try to cover him, and he ends up getting roared out of position. And then they were waiting for the Grave for forever, and right when it was about to come out on the Dragon Knight, Ake played amazing. He silenced the Dazzle on the back line, and by doing that, it guaranteed the Dragon Knight kill. And then at the end there, really sick plays from the Dazzle to keep the Drow alive. S4 did miss the Flame Break, though. That's kind of his fault, namely. But if he would have landed that, that would have been a dead Drow. So it went pretty good for Alliance, I would say, as a whole. They did lose range barracks, but I think they're completely happy with that as far as how things are going so far. So Alliance is content. They could have won that harder, but they didn't.
There we go. Now in the mid lane, OG, they're going to try and go for a push again, actually just moving it back across towards top. This ward, though, spawning everything out here for the side of Alliance. They know how OG is going to come in with the attack.
That's scary. They don't have their cooldowns yet. They have to delay this as long as possible. It's super important.
Yeah, how long till the haunt? 25 seconds. Silence as well, as you said, yeah. Same stuff.
The global silence is the big one, because if Batrider goes in and Venge is in the position, then Batrider Lasso is completely canceled. They need to use all of those spells. I love this smoke here. Their opponents may not expect this. By the time they get to their opponents, they're going to have their cooldowns. 10 seconds left on Speckle.
This could be a big, big fight for Alliance. We'll see how far they come out and which route they're going to take.
Okay, I like that Loda hit these creeps. If they didn't hit these creeps, then OG would definitely realize what's going on.
I mean, at the moment, it looks like they may have realized anyway. You know, that they're backing up, that they're sticking relatively safe. They're side of the jungle and up on the high ground as well. And Alliance, yes, we're just waiting around, seeing if anyone was going to come to him. So it looks like Alliance won't find anything with the smokers, as OG just playing it very, very careful.
It was a little too obvious. Like, even though Spec was hitting it, again, it's the standard Spec thing. Spec defends or pushes, and you smoke with the rest of the team. So nobody else showed, so they said, oh, we're just going to play this safe here. They're going to have cooldowns again. If that happens, we're not going to be close to their base. BKB's up on Doom now, so much more survivable towards those kind of initiations. Plus, if the global silence comes up, boom, you pop BKB and you Doom somebody.
I mean, who are you looking to Doom ideally in these fights, do you think?
Spectre before he haunts, Batrider before he lassos, Silencer before he ulties, Beastmaster before he ulties or Necros. I would say maybe the Beastmaster is the best one of those, since they do have a lot of global silence cooldowns now with some items, that it might be better just to limit the Necro 3 from coming out or the Roar from coming out. If they do that, it might be pretty straightforward for OG. Just defend whoever gets lassoed, and then prevent the Roar, which is going to lock down carries like Dragon Knight or Drow Ranger. Like, they're set now. They've got 2 BKBs and a Manta on Drow. Those 3 heroes are fine against the global. It's still up to the Venge, as well as the Dazzle. And Dazzle almost has Greaves. This is the big thing. He can remove silence with that.
Yeah,
So
Greaves is going to be great for these pushes.
yeah, the team fights for Alliance are going to be a lot harder now that those big items have come up. But they haven't gotten enough gold advantage from team fights and ganks to offset those item advantages.
Oh, S4 jumping in, gets the lasso off onto Notail with a Mystic Flare to follow up. Notail will get the BKB and Armlet off in time. Now they'll try and turn, see what they can find. OG, BKB popped by Moon. He wants to walk in, wants to get this Doom off. Alliance just kiting them up for the time being, backing off. And it looks like they will just decide to disengage here.
Oh, that could have been so good. If Beastmaster was a little closer in that fight, he could have roared. And if he roared, no BKB comes out, and the Dragon Knight does end up dying to the magic nukes. But he was too far away, didn't get the roar, BKB comes out, and they
this
waste
is
their
big.
ults.
I was going to say, now with this push coming through, ults down for 100 seconds, this is the opening that OG were looking for.
Yeah, it was a good call by Batrider, but the Beastmaster just wasn't close enough. He's only got Tranquil Boots, no Blink Dagger.
And how do you hold without your ult?
Well, you got to defend until Dragon Knight ulti goes down. That's number one base. There's the swap. This is bad.
Oh, S4's gone. Fried down by Notail.
He's got buyback. I think they just have to give up on the racks, though. It's not worth buying back here.
Generous to hold.
Oh, he buys back.
Coming in.
Okay.
So what they can do here. OG a little bit scared, backing off. As Loda and EGM start with a chase down, looking for Notail. He's got the Grave. He should be fine. S4 jumps in as well. There's Roar onto Miracle. Can they find the Drown Ranger? Mystic Flare coming down, and Miracle, he's gone. They'll take down the Drow. The Zoom has been dropped onto Loda. Moon trying to move in, but the Purge Creeper is slowing him down. Notail pots the BKB, trying to find more. Loda should be denied here, and he will.
Okay. That was pretty good. They didn't lose melee barracks. They lost Batrider buyback.
S4's got lasso again. I mean, they can still try and...
Oh yeah, they're definitely going to play around this. They have so much more mobility than their opponents. Their opponents have to retreat together, push together, move together. None of them have Blink Daggers. Alliance can definitely catch some people, but it's a lot safer just to wait. They're all pretty low. They have low cooldowns. Beastmaster's got nothing, no Necro 3. He accomplishes almost nothing. EGM accomplishes little. Skyrath has nothing. Their ability to kill somebody there was just too tough. It was fun to play with them a little bit, make them retreat slowly, but they're going to have to wait until Loda gets back up. And he's now going to have Yasha. Once he gets Manta, things get a lot easier for him. Can make it at least confusing who their opponents stun and remove silences, things like that.
And this is... I mean, if you are the side of OG, 28 minutes in, we saw it, what, 15 minutes, they were pushing this top lane. They still haven't managed to get this melee racks. I mean, that's got to be the plan going wrong here for the side. Yeah,
the fights are just going slightly bad for them. Their networks are still much better than Alliance's, though. The gold graph keeps going more and more in their favor. So if this game continues at the exact same pace, OG is going to win, surely. Especially because they're hitting this power curve right now. But in the next 10, 15 minutes, it might get worse, just because Alliance's heroes will scale a bit better in terms of their damage, team fight, and all that stuff. So I would say the fights are pretty even right now. Definitely pretty even. It all comes down to the team fight initiations. If they can chain stun a core and there's no Dazzle nearby or Venge nearby to swap or Grave, and they kill that core, then they're going to win the fight. If OG initiates, it's going to be really good for them. I would say it's definitely easier to execute this for OG than it is for Alliance, the team fights at least, now that they have all those big items. Still hard though.
We'll see what OG do want to do, if they do want to try and go looking for that fight, as you said. I mean, Notail, he's working on towards that. Assault Cuirass, he's picked up the Hyperstone.
All right.
Alliance hanging in the mid lane, as you said, Loda, once he gets that Manta, it's going to get harder and harder for the side of OG to deal with the Spectre.
Drow Ranger has BKB now, and he's also building towards Ags, a great Drow item. You can push very well with it, hit buildings, and it splinters off onto heroes and creeps. You can grab other items to do better DPS. I'm actually quite surprised he's transitioning well. Usually Drow Rangers have a lot of trouble with net worth, but this guy has been able to get a lot of items despite being in like a 5-man push.
Great Miracle, yeah. Regardless of the failed pushes, but as you said, it's not phased his farming at all.
They want to hit the tower, but they're kind of scared. But luckily for Loda, they could hypothetically do a swap combo, but Global Silence will come out, and if they don't kill Loda in that moment, then it's just terrible for them. So tower goes down, last hit for Loda here. So very close to Manta style.
Actually smoked here, OG. Let's see what kind of an opening they can find here as they move round towards the mid. This could be a good smoke as well as Alliance. And Alliance is going to go to the high ground themselves. Over by the Ancients. So
they're looking for Spec right now at large camp.
Yeah.
It's not there. They're going to wait for Spec bot lane, where Spec just might go farm. I like that he's playing safe and he's farming near his team, though, because if he wasn't, he would be dead right now, and then OG would get a Rax. It's going to limit his farm by a little bit, but it's a lot safer. That's more important than being greedy in terms of farm levels. And he's even being a little careful top 2.
And looks like OG won't find anything with this one. Trying to be as sneaky as they can. They're still holding themselves.
All right,
on the
Lotus
side.
TP and they see it. They might go now.
OG
It's so hard though.
just on the outskirts of the vision.
They can swap now if they really want to.
Watch Loda, watch Crit. Is he going to get the swap? Thinking about it? No, now he's backing off and now the creeps here. They're spotting them out. So OG won't be able to get that catch onto Loda.
So dangerous. It could force a fight that doesn't go well enough for them, basically. I think the only way that works is maybe if they Doom upon the swap with a stun follow-up, because then he can't move and he can't cast spells. They'd have to kill him right there, and even then, Spec could hypothetically buy back, perhaps. So it could still go bad for them, because he could just buy back Haunt and their whole team chases him down and gets kills, so they're careful.
Roche is up. Alliance, no, they know that the side of OG is going to be looking to take it, and Alliance want to find this fight.
The
Coming
boar's going to
across.
show.
Let's see.
They stole the board. Oh, no, they didn't.
They
Oh, they're
they're
gonna
aware
roll
that there's backup. Miracle. Moving back in.
All right.
Trying to go on to EGM. Pots the BKB. Starts to move the silence. Coming through afterwards, though, as OG moving. Bulldog jumps in. Nice roar. Bulldog roaring up Dazzle on the backlines. Trying to take Fly out. S4 with the lasso onto
Loda
Miracle.
might
But Loda
die.
caught out on the front move. Can he take this one down? He's still got to Doom. He doesn't even need it to take down Loda. Loda's down once. There's your buyback Haunt. Loda looking to come back in the fight. OG grouping up, holding each other's hands, trying to minimize this damage from the Spectre, but they've already lost Crit. They're going to lose Fly as well as Bulldog chasing down the Dazzle. Loda's been doomed. They're going to be able to kill him a second time. Miracle survives. They may have lost 3. Miracle looking to carry the game here for OG. May he find more? No, the control is there. They will shut him down. Fly, the last man left standing, really wanting to find something else here, but he's going to end up giving away his life. EGM just taunting him there on the side. So they do
Huge.
manage to wipe them all. Did cost Loda a dieback, but if you're Alliance, you've got to still be happy
Dude,
with that.
that's totally worth it. And that's why he didn't Haunt at the start, because
Yeah.
he was planning to die there.
Look at that gold swing. As well,
Yeah.
4K nearly.
Because he knew that they were going to be able to outplay that fight. Like, especially with Draw Ranger wasting BKB like that, he didn't even get a kill out of it. And if anything, I might criticize his Frost Arrow levels. If he had a second, maybe a third point of Frost Arrows, yes, he has less HP, yes, he has less overall damage, but he would have guaranteed killed somebody. If he pops BKB, somebody should not be moving, and he should be able to kill them. And he wasn't able to kill the Silencer at all. Like, just killing that hero, it honestly matters. And maybe 1 less Veil during the fight, maybe 1 or 2 less Arcane Curses, a force on an important hero. That stuff would have been gone if he just was able to slow. And I really think that extra point of Frost Arrows, just 1. It's an extra 15% slow. 30% is pretty much you're guaranteed to chase that guy till he dies. And it didn't happen there. And with the buyback Haunt, there was just not enough heal and not enough uptime on OG to keep them all alive there.
You've really got to be scared now if you're OG.
Yes.
You really have. I mean, you talked about that lead earlier, you know, if they could have kept it going, but of course after a fight like that, the swing round starts to occur. And now it's Alliance regaining control. And of course, just if you're ever kind of on the recliner of a net worth advantage when you're running a Drow strat, it's never going to be a good position to be in, especially when you're doing it up against a Spectre.
Well, on the bright side, they will still be able to take Roche real easy. So they got that coin for them, but man, their right-click damage alone is working, but there's just so much disabling utility coming out of Alliance.
Alliance might even be able to contest this Roche. It's not the quickest of Roshans.
Yeah, they do have
And they're
Haunt as well. They can do this. Send the boar in. Oh, it's going to be close. I don't think they realize how low it is.
Oh, yeah, okay, it's going.
All right, they'll get 1.
Yeah, they'll catch him out the
Great
side.
swap.
Now with the Horn, in fact, no, they're not going to go into the pit. Drow, Miracle will find the Aegis, but they've already lost 1. They've lost Fly. They're going to lose Crit as well as Loda moves in with Bulldog. They'll take down
Oh,
a
no.
double kill for the Beastmaster.
They're all
and
gonna
now,
die.
Yeah, Miracle's trying to work his way into EGM. No-Tail pops the BKB. On the sidelines, Loda actually hiding in the tree line. Loda actually teeping away from the fight as well, so they feel
okay.
like they just want to disengage. A little bit too scared of No-Tail with this haste rune on the Dragon Knight. Gets the Dragon Tail off onto Ake, with Miracle moving in there, will find themselves another. Ake pops the mech, won't save him. Double kill for Miracle. They won't be able to find more as the blink out is there from S4, so now they take down the 2 at the start, and Alliance do decide to disengage on
Oh, if he dies as well, this is really bad for them.
Oh, man.
He's got force.
No-Tail nearly making the plays here on this Dragon Knight.
That haste rune changed everything, because it's just almost impossible to kite the DK. If it's just 3 cores and no supports up, usually you can overly kite them. But they lose their 2 supports in exchange for the 2 supports on their opponents. This is getting now scary. Aegis is up on the Dry Range. He's got Ags. The split shot's coming out. The creep sign so fast. They got to stop this. They could get Rexed here.
And they don't have the ults. Oh, S4, he's still got the lasso, but there's no Horn, no global signs. They'll drag
don't know about
No-Tail
this.
in. Can they kill him? Maybe Load Up with the Manta style can do it. Onto the Dragon Knight. Is the damage enough? No-Tail puts the BKB.
armlet.
The armlet talks as well. No-Tail's going to walk it off. He just
Okay.
walks out of there. Oh, no.
They can chase this, though.
Alliance slip, mate. Let's see if they get Moon. Brought into Mystic Flare, crit with the swap. Moon's going to be fine for the time being. Now Miracle moves back in, pounds into one, looking for EGM as well. Chasing him back up the high ground, he will be forced back, he'll live. But OG just making some very, very smart plays here. Let's see if Alliance can try and punish it. They're trying to make the defense happen, but it's just not working at the moment. Miracle just standing there on the high ground, pummeling into the racks.
Does so much damage.
Look at the splits as well, nearly killing S4 on his bat.
They got the racks. Range Barracks probably going to fall also. He still hasn't lost the Aegis.
Oh my goodness. Miracle on this Drow Ranger dealing with a Spectre. He's 6k ahead.
That's so much farm in comparison. If they get top racks as well, that's a huge advantage for OG. It looks so good, but I think they maybe need to commit to those 3 cores.
They've got the ults back online now. Maybe they could try and punish. Let's see what Alliance can do here with the Haunt, with the Global Silence. Here we go. Global Silence into Haunt, the lasso onto No-Tail, dragging him back.
Oh,
as he's dragging him outside of the Mystic Flare, No-Tail gets the chance to BKB. He has the Grave as well. No-Tail just turns around, starts to kill them. Miracle's still sitting there on full health. And that's your Globals used, and you're not killing anyone on OG.
And now the net worths aren't even close anymore. The top net worth is matching their 3rd.
Oh,
there's such a good chance of them going bottom and just ending the game right now.
What are you going to do to solve this if you're Alliance? What are you going to do? OG just going from strength to strength here. You've kind of missed that opening. There was that point where it looked like maybe Alliance could bring it round, punish OG's early kind of push aggression, but this Dragonite, No-Tail, just staying alive every time. And that's loaded dead for 70 seconds. No buyback. EGM is going to fall as well. And GG well played is called. OG take the series 2-0. And what a performance as well from them. I mean, there are highlights for Alliance, but across the whole series, it was just smart decision after smart decision from OG.
It just looked like no matter what happened, OG could always just win the game. Doesn't matter how many fights they lost, they just always had this 5-man draft that they just push high grounds and they do tons of damage and they don't care about teamfight cooldowns because they're ending the game so early. It's very different than a lot of the other teams we've seen. I really, looking